Hello guys, and welcome to a new Wargame video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 3 versus 3 on another D-Day in Paradise. Now this map to me is probably one of the maps that really reminds me of the first time that I played Wargame, Red Dragon. It's the first one I experimented with the naval aspect. We're not going to have that on this time round, but yeah, I definitely like this map. It's a very good map. It has pretty good balancing. You can see Charlie and Delta here. They're both pretty balanced sectors. They both have towns and forests. But before I get into that, I just would like to let you know I am playing with Bubblebox and Silveraptor again. Obviously, you can see that on screen. But the reason for that is because I'm going to be making use of my Blufor deck. Now, my Blufor deck has a deck video. I released it recently. So if you'd like to see that, make sure you check the link in the description below, and make sure you do it before you watch this because it will kind of make more sense. I'm going to go over in this game more about what I've said in that video, so yeah, definitely worth checking out before you come back and watch this. I'm going to be trying to showcase as many of the units as I can and the reasons why I brought them in again. I think I get away with using a massive amount of units, like in terms of like different units. You can see in my composition already I've got the Nanoyon Shiki there, the K1, the Lux, LVTPs, K263s, Crotals, AVRE. We've got the Eyehawk and the XA180 with some recon infantry. I think they got Marine Jaegers in them, if I remember correctly, and Challenger 1 Mark III, and of course Fuchs with Jaegers. So yeah, an interesting setup for the start of the game. A lot of versatile units. But let's cover the map a bit more. You can see, again, it is balanced. Charlie and Delta have already talked about. Foxtrot and Alpha are pretty similar in terms of safe sectors that both sides can capture for themselves. Golf is like a big contested sector normally, where a lot of tanks actually fight it out because you do have like a lot of open ground here to use. Now, in some ways, the blue side can be a bit unbalanced in the middle because they do get some high ground here, which does allow their tanks to shoot over the trees, and that will give you advantage, obviously, because you can basically abuse the line of sight here in order to take out units from afar. Hotel in India, again, more of the same. They have the same amount of forest. India has a little bit more, but Hotel has a town, so there you go. And then the main contention between these two sectors is this compound here, and the reason for that is because of this road, and moving elsewhere other than down this road is really slow for units, so you don't often see it happen very much. I am going to set this game to my point of view so I can quickly talk over more of my units. I think I already covered them all, other than the Fuchs Fufu that is going to be my command vehicle for this game. I've got the AH-1J Cobra as my recon helicopter in the corner here. The reason I put it in the corner, obviously as close to the enemy as I can, and also it's going to be hovering above the trees at the start. There is the trick where if you put helicopters above trees at the start of the game, they don't have to take off, so that saves you a little bit of time, and definitely for recon helicopters it's pretty important because obviously you want to find out what's coming your way as soon as possible. So my units are moving up. I'm going to be controlling Golf. That is my job for this game. A nice Phantom 2 is coming in here for Silveraptor, going to napalm this road and the compound there to stop anything from stopping him getting to the middle compound, which is probably more important for him. He's moving up quickly with some Super Cobras, and Silver's going to be capturing Hotel while Bubblebox takes Charlie. Now at the start of the game we do get a huge missile barrage from the opposing team. They do stun some of Bubblebox's Marder 1s, which could be important if they were rushing Charlie, but in this case they don't. And so they're just going to slow down these Marder 1s and nearly kill one. You can see one of these Marder 1s here has taken a direct hit, almost got destroyed. So that rocket artillery could have been more effective if it was more around this area or around my troops, because my troops are a lot more concentrated, so the whole convoy probably would have been stunned. So yeah, a bit of a misplacement for the rocket artillery. and that can be a legit strat, but in general a lot of people shy on it because it's so unreliable. But my looks here, it did spot a couple of Mi2s here along with the AH-1J Cobra. That probably saw those helicopters actually. But my look spots some units coming down the road, and that forces the enemy to push them into this tree line here. But you can see these APCs moving up. The looks here going to be sniping one unit with the Marder equivalent autocannon. Going to be firing at this Scott 2 AP, and that actually gets taken out by a shot from the K1 here. And that, as you probably saw, gave me the 100 points there. And that's because that contained a command unit. So at the start of this game, I already have a huge lead in golf because they aren't going to contest it, and we're going to get +4 reinforcement points. So that's pretty much a massive deal for us. I'm not sure quite where he was going with that. I think he was possibly trying to get it over to the other side of the canal, but he kind of stopped it in the water, which left it a sitting duck for my units as I pushed up. Now my Centurion AVRE here, I've kept it on the right side along with these Nanoion Cheeky E's, and this combination is extremely potent. You use the AVRE to stun the tanks you want to fire at, and then you can snipe them with the Nanoion Cheeky E's. So you can see these Nanoion Cheeky E's with the 60% accuracy, 65% accuracy even, are going to hit these stunned T-55s very, very easily. Perfect combination there is going to pick off those units. I did spot some infantry from those Mi2s moving across to this attack marker. So you can see here a Phantom 2 coming in from Silver Raptor in order to napalm that and avoid him getting flanked. He has taken a massive blow on the left side here, only got a couple of SAS units left in that side. So Hotel's pretty exposed. He does have the Lynxes to check his flanks. He's got a Super Cobra here. He's bringing up some reinforcements in these LVTPs. So he should be able to recover that pretty easily if they don't go through the flames. We've got an Su-7BKL coming up to drop some napalm. That's going to get hit hard by my K263s, and that's going to get shot down. But now it's time for me to deal with this infantry. So I've got the LVTPs with their beautiful grenade launcher. I've got a Marder 1 in providing fire support, and the Panzergrens pinning them down. I'm also bringing across these two small squads. They have the 2 HE power on their rockets, so they can actually fire those at infantry as well, and that's what I was planning to do, but they don't get in line of sight in order to do that soon enough. So we do manage to sweep up those units anyway, and you can see I've got a nice front going on at the moment at Golf. So Bumblebox is making some progress towards Delta. He's using his combination of Panzergrens and Marders to push forwards. His SAS have found some Motor Streltsy, so they should be dealt with pretty quickly. The SAS with their elite training not going to take too much morale damage from that engagement. Now I'm being attacked by some sort of unit in this tree line, and I want to get rid of that. So my K1's being pushed up along with these LVTPs. The LVTPs are going to tank those shots, and as soon as I find out what that is, the K1 can just snipe it. That was a BRDM-3. So now more rocket artillery coming in. This is actually a quite nice barrage. Would have been better if it was more centered around these units, because when you fire rocket barrages, I think there's almost always a guarantee that you're going to hit in the middle of your marker. So yeah, that is something to consider. But in this case, he does do quite a lot of damage to my small squad. He does do a couple of health damage to my K263 there. I think the most damage goes on this Kratal, and the Marine Jaeger here just gets away with staying alive. He is not a happy bunny. He needs his friend back. So I'm going to try and resupply him eventually, get him back up to full strength. Panzer Grenadier squad moving down the left side here with this rocket artillery coming in, and me not really finding much resistance in Golf anymore after taking out those T-55s. I'm pretty safe to move up in the middle here, so that's what I'm going to plan to do. The Panzergrens, yeah, we'll move up through this forest. We've got the LVTPs coming up as support. I've moved up my AH-1J Cobra for the recon, and we've got the Jaegers pushing across this side here to basically shoot anything that decides to come up this road. I've got these Fuchs. They could probably do with being moved forward, But I'm more focusing on this right side of the river at the moment. Like this canal, it's very important that you control both sides when you're dealing with Gulf, because otherwise what can happen is the enemy could sneak a command unit into like this back corner, or basically on the other side of the canal, which is really frustrating to deal with. You don't want to let the enemy counter cap for free. So in this case, I'm just sort of sweeping some Fuchs across this forest in order to find and destroy any opposition. I've got my Jaegers here. I'm splitting those up. I'm going to send 2 squads to deal with those recoilless rifle APCs. And my Fuchs again spots them, so he's going to get destroyed by the recoilless rifle. I've also got to deal with some infantry that I spotted earlier. Now here, I've got my K1 attacking a Chon Ma Ho 4, but it instead decides to shoot at another tank that's beside it. My AH-1J Cobra here taking some fire from this anti-air, and I am going to be forced to move that back. My Panzer Grenadier squad tries to move across the open, but is going to get taken down by the machine guns of the Scott 2AMs there. But with the tank exposing itself, I think that was a T-80, it gets destroyed by my K1 with the second shot as it fires at my infantry. So it gave away its position. The K1 with 1 health takes down that tank. That was just beautiful. Now the Mi-24Ws coming in. They were forced forwards in order to finish off this K1. The K1's actually cheekily firing at it with its M2 Browning, which I think is just hilarious. But my K263s here with their Vulcan miniguns absolutely tear apart the first, and the second is forced to retreat. So now here my FSK find a juicy target. I've managed to sneak my APCs up to this bridge, so alongside Bubble Box's Panzergrens, we're trying to stop these Granata Mets coming across the bridge. These TO-55s though, or this TO-55 on its own, is going to be an issue against the Panzergrens. The Prams also, with their direct mortar fire, incredibly accurate. They let the TO-55 go down. That could have been really useful actually, using that napalm, but they didn't make use of it. Su-7B coming across the middle, another 100 points for me as my K263 sniped that out the air. And now I'm engaged with these Scott 2AMs. They get pinned down by the flames here. You can see one of them drove straight into the flames and basically blew itself up with the help of the XA-180 there. Jaegers still sweeping through the forest. FSK have pushed up here and are going to be taking control of this road for now. Now look at this. This is the beauty of the K263. It has 818 rounds per minute, and it literally does not stop firing. So that was 3 units of Pehotasmech, and they are no longer, as that thing rips the crap out of them with the help of the Nanayon Cheeky E. And that's why I love the K263. It's basically a PVAD slightly upgraded. So worth it because they are exactly the same price. So now Silver Raptor is going to be taking another Buratino barrage from India. His infantry in this center sector here are going to take a beating. There's 2 SAS squads going down to 1 health and 7 health respectively. His Marines and JSDF Rangers though, they're completely fine. It was interesting that they fired the Buratino over those 2 buildings there where he had already advanced to. We're making some really good progress in Delta now. We've taken down the command unit, and Bubblebox is pushing against these stray helicopters. Panzergrens occupying these compounds and adding some machine gun fire. Crotals though, they're the important thing. Going to be using their last couple of rockets to destroy the attack helicopters before they can do any damage. My Jaegers now moving into the town as well after their long trek across the mountain. These 2 coming down behind these Granatamet, but those are going to be dealt with by my AH-1J Cobra on the right side here and the Marder 1. Panzergrens and Jaegers from both sides are also going to help out, but the AH-1J Cobra actually gets the kill though. So now some indirect mortar fire from the Prams is going for a shot onto the Crotals. AH-1J Cobra does find an AA unit and gets shot down unfortunately, and that lands directly on top of a Crotel, which I found quite amusing when I was playing the game. But anyway, some distraction tactics here. They're using the Mi-2s in order to flush out my APCs and infantry, and this is allowing the Mi-24s here to absolutely destroy my FSK units. This one only down to 3 health now. Now it actually says 4 there, but they are on 3 health. The Pram's trying to get some fire position onto them, but a little bit too late. Now in the center, I'm not really doing too much. I brought up a reinforcing K1. I've just been messing around with my supply, really, getting my units back to full health. So the Marine Jaeger's got his friend back. We got the Crotel back to full health. This Hempt was trying to fix up and resupply the K263, the K1 there, back to full health. Could do with a little bit more supply, so I do get some more eventually. But these Marder ones now moving up, going to take care of anything else left on this side of the forest. My Jaeger here managing to shoot a helicopter on the ground. That was an Mi-4 cargo, I believe. And now they are engaged with the Lekka Pahota in this compound. I've got these 2 Jaeger squads trying to join them as soon as possible, and these FSK are going to have to remain retreated for now, because this helicopter here would spot them if they are on the edge of the tree line, and that would allow the mortars and these Mi-24Ws to kill those 2 squads. So I can't really move forwards with those at the moment, but again, more resupply being used here, refueling this Nanayon Shiki-E, that's pretty important, and this Hempt being used to repair and refuel some K1s. Got some STRV 102Rs coming up. They're trying to get over towards Silver Raptor so I can help him take India. His F-16A Block 5 is stunned and forced to evac. Did manage to get its bombs off though, and just as it gets out, that was a really, really lucky shot there. The enemy book here missed, which is really rare. It has 65% accuracy. Obviously you have to account for the plane's ECM, but that was really lucky that 3 missiles missed and only 1 hit. So now I did a little switcheroo with these Jaegers, and I'm going to be using the replenished unit of Jaegers to take on the Lekka Pahota from now on. Unfortunately the other squad gets sniped by an S-24 rocket. Those rocket pods there, the 240mm rocket, incredibly powerful against infantry squads. They actually have 10 HE power, and if they catch an infantry squad out in the open, they can pretty much one-shot them, so that can be scary. So now I'm slowly crawling this Crotel off-road across to this tree line here in order to shoot down these pesky helicopters that are stopping me from moving up the FSK. I'm not really too concerned if I lose this Jaeger squad. All the artillery comes in and doesn't barely scratch them. So yeah, that Jaeger squad sitting there and is going to destroy one of these APCs at least, possibly getting a second. It looks like it's only going to be 1. But that, they took out one of those APCs, 2 of those APCs, and actually destroyed a squad that was in one. So the Jaeger squad there definitely paying for themselves. Only 10 points they're worth, and they just managed to take out about 25 points from those 2 APC kills. So a B5 coming in here, did get shot down with a combination of my K263 and this Hawk Pip here from Silver Raptor. Just about misses my SDRV 102Rs because it actually bombed my Marder 1 that was heading up the charge. And over at India, we've basically taken full control of this sector now. So now we're trying to do the same over on the right side. You can see my FSK unit did get taken out there by the ASU's machine guns, and this Crotel here doesn't last much longer. I really didn't expect there to be those ASUs. That Crotel was moved to the edge of the tree line to shoot down the enemy helicopters, like I said before, and I completely overlooked the fact that there would be some ground units there, so that was my bad. But here you can see the K1 supporting the Jaegers as they push. The Jaegers actually baiting any units in this forest to open up on them, and then the K1 sniping them from a distance. The K1's probably the most cost-efficient medium tank in the Blufor deck, in basically every sense of like Blufor. K1s are the best. The K1 there sniping a Strop 2, but unfortunately that one's going to get taken out by these Mi-24Ws that are hitting it with Kokon missiles from range. These Mi-2s are going to go down to the Jaeger fire, and one goes down to a Crotal. Now I'm using a combination of the K1 on the left here to take out a couple of these tanks, these T-64 BMs. A K1 takes out one of them, and I'm trying to use this Nanoyon Shiki E to take out the other. The Nanoyon Shiki E has 65% accuracy and 16 AP power for 50 points, and that is just incredible. So, amazing sniping tanks. They do have only 6 armor though. That's really what makes them inefficient at close range. K263 coming back into play as it rips to shreds the VDB squads that are left over from that push. And now we have some napalm artillery coming in. A lovely display of rocket artillery in this game. But that's not going to provide us with too many issues. Completely misses most of our units. I think my STRV was the only thing that took a little bit of damage from that. Now with me getting this infantry so far up this tree line, I'm trying to sneak these squads into these two compounds here in order to take control of both of these bridges, and by doing that they won't be able to get any reinforcements. You can see one of our opponents has just surrendered, and down here I just find a T-72M1 that was moved in there I think at the beginning of the game. But with the close range fire from the Marder 1s and the Panzergrens, that's not going to last very long, so I get rid of that nicely. FSK coming across some light infantry in this town. I didn't really see this happening. They were on an attack move order, so they're just sitting out in the open at the moment, but still doing a reasonable amount of damage against those units. Over here you can see just the effectiveness of the small squads taking down so many ASU-85s. Now these ASU-85s, they are used because they have 3 HE power for 10 points. They take out infantry, that's what you use them for, at range though. But since they were in range of the s'mores just ripped them apart, and the Marder 1s coming in here just to finish things off. They didn't really stand a chance. Another rocket artillery barrage coming in. Going to be missing the majority of my units once again. I do have this Marine Jaeger squad here next to the K1, providing some recon information for it to snipe any units across the river. I don't necessarily want to push across just yet in case there's anything in this tree line, so that's really what I'm looking for with that recon. My small squad's taken up position here, and you can see another opponent has left the game now. So we're making really good progress. We've forced a couple of people to give up on this game, and we only have one opponent left. They are still putting up a decent fight with the units they have. You can see these OT-64s, they probably weren't controlled, and they just ran straight into my LVTPs here and the s'mores. So they got ripped to shreds because basically what happened there was the person who left probably brought them in as reinforcements, and they suicided because they weren't being controlled properly. But cluster munitions came in and attacked the prams there. We managed to snipe a couple of them. I bring in my F-15D Eagle to provide 4 1,000 kilogram bombs onto that town just to get rid of the last infantry presence. And the Sea Harrier here with its anti-radar missiles was flown near the spawn in order to try and snipe any radar AA. And that was to make ready for this wonderful air display from Bubblebox. So, leading the charge, a F-15D Eagle. This thing has 4 1,000 kilogram bombs. That was the one I was just talking about. Behind that he has 2 CF-18 Hornets with their 8 245 kilogram cluster munitions, and behind that he's got 2 Phantom 2s with their 8 340 kilogram napalm bombs. So he's sweeping them all in. They are going to shoot that helicopter out of the sky. He's also got a Raven, an EF 111A Raven. Going to be using its anti-radar missiles there to take out a ROM. Second one missing, but here go the bombs. Actually, never mind. Okay, it looks like only the Phantom 2 here actually dropped its munitions. The rest evac'd before they did anything. So that's interesting. Certainly an air display then from Bubble Box. And now I've discovered that there's nothing across this river, so I'm deciding to push across with my Fuchs, my K1. I've got a K263 leading the charge over on this side. Probably not the best idea, so you can see me microing that back. Nanny on Cheeky E though, continuing to push forwards. I've got a couple of Marder 1s running for the spawn. We really just want to finish off this game now. I've got my own air display coming in. A couple of Sea Harriers. These are my anti-radar, so they're going to try and take out these ROMs that are shooting at the Phantom 2s there. They don't really do their jobs very well. I bought these for accuracy, but the first 2 missiles missed, so that was counterproductive. And yeah, anyway, both my Phantom 2s survive and they get off their payload, so not too much of an issue. I use one to block the road from the reinforcements, and the second one to napalm on this right side where I predicted the command unit would be. And it seems that I was right because it's dislodged and Echo is neutralized. So now these 2 Marder 1s have found themselves a Buratino. They are going to be firing at that, causing a firing computer reset, a stabilization malfunction, and optical failure. Oh, look at that, a weapons jam as well. I'm moving them down off the bridge so that they don't get destroyed, but hey, Silver Raptor has something to say about that. An F-15D Eagle coming in there, destroying both my Marder 1s and the Buratino with it. So that wasn't so bad. I've now discovered the location of the CV as well. You can see I put an attack marker on it there in order to show that to my teammates. But yeah, the Fuchs scouting ahead did find that. Now I just got to rush it and find it myself, or just bomb it. But here we have a couple of MiG-23 MFs. These are quite efficient anti-air. Like, they're kind of like air superiority. They have a reasonable amount of armament, but they do run out of missiles pretty easily. So you'll see this F-15D Eagle is pretty much free to bomb this command unit as it hasn't moved. You can tell because obviously Foxtrot hasn't gone neutralized. My F-16C block here comes in to try and have a go at those MiG-23 MFs, but they managed to evac in time. So that was unfortunate. Eagle hits the mark though, and we do destroy the command unit in Foxtrot and continue our push towards Echo. So 2 FA-18C Hornets coming in there with their infrared Maverick missiles, trying to go for a few shots onto their ground targets. But again, another air show, bringing in cluster munitions, napalm bombs, the works. One of them goes down there, as you can see. Now it's time to just get the rest of the units in and clean things up. The napalm is kind of annoying in this aspect, that it does kind of block the way for my own unit, so I am going to have to be patient here in order to push up. MiG-23 MF coming out though. The reason only one's coming out this time is because I did damage the other one, so that's sitting in their base at the moment, but that one is a sitting duck on its own when I bring in my F-16C Block 52, but that's going to get wiped out by the heavy flak that came up there. Phantom 2 alongside the Block 5 are going to finish those off with a combination of napalm and cluster munitions. So there we go, we have cleaned up the rest of the AA pretty much. Obviously they're going to continue to reinforce. Over on this side you can see a wonderful use of the Super Cobras here in order to hit these Mi-24s from range. Unfortunately, the Super Cobras do only have 2 infrared missiles each, but they are 2,800 meter range infrared missiles, so that can make them very effective. And of course, they do have their own TOW2 missiles, so they are going to be hitting the ground targets from range. So great use of this water here, just moving across some flanking helicopters. I managed to take out a couple of units. This Nanny on Cheeky E, basically sniping units to the backside of the sector. We did also shoot down a helicopter, and with a bombing strike coming in and hitting the mark on a command unit, we finished the game in 26 minutes and 34 seconds. So, pretty successful game. You see our kills and losses are extremely good in this game. I got 3,104 kills to only 995 losses, so that's pretty decent. But this game wasn't necessarily about the victory, it was more about the units and just showing how efficient these units are, and you can really tell that from the kill board here. So this looks, one of my favourite recon units, has the Marder 1 cannon, as I said before. Did manage to take out a Scots 2 AP unit at the start of the game, as you saw, and the BRDM2 Conkers there. It's just great for sniping APCs at a distance because it has a really good armament. Now we have the K1 that took out a T80UM, probably on its own, I think. It possibly side-shotted it. That would be the only reason that it actually got that kill, because otherwise it would get outgunned most of the time. But yeah, an amazing job by the K1 there. You can see the kills. Nanion Shigi E sniping these T55 AM Meridas, and it got a spag there for itself as well. These Jaeger units, Jaegers and Books, again, great value for money, incredibly cheap, and will get you the kills. The K263s, also very good value for money. Took out 3 infantry squads, a B5, you got an MI24W, we got an MI2 Row there, and an MI8 ZAOP. I think that's a supply vehicle. So yeah, just incredible. Continue to scroll down and you'll see these K1s, the Crotals, the S'mores. The S'mores did a great job. The Marder 1s, you can see how many kills the Marder 1s got, and they're just the APCs for the infantry. So yeah, just a great showing of value for money in this game against units that are less than ideal, but they still put up a decent fight, I think. It was a lot more stressful when I actually played that. So yeah, anyway, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this one. You can find all the information about the deck in the description, of course. Make sure you go check out Bubblebox's channel, also in the description. But in the meantime, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.